So I wanted to redo this video for a while because the last time I did this it received a bit of negativity, so I thought I'd do it again. If you don't know what the hell I'm talking about, you probably won't. A few years ago, probably 2 or 3, I did a video fancasting my own ideas for the Fantastic Four, because at the time it was rumoured that Fox was being bought by Disney. That has happened since that video came out, and you do the math. So today I'm going to be fancasting the Fantastic Four, along with some additional characters in that retrospective of the Fantastic Four universe. So let's get to it. Okay, so first up we've got Reed Richards, Mr. Fantastic, who can stretch any part of his body. Don't ask me if he can stretch every part of his body, I have no idea. So the way we're going to do this is, I'm going to give you my ideal pick for who can play this character, and then I'm going to list off some other actors who could potentially play the role. That's basically the format I'm going to go with for the other casting choices. So my ideal pick for Mr. Fantastic would be John Krasinski. I mentioned this in 2 other videos, so you should know that he is my ideal pick for Reed Richards. Of course, you'll probably know Krasinski from stuff like the Jack Ryan thing on Amazon Prime. Most notably, you'll know him as Jim from The Office, so it's no surprise this is my ideal pick. However, there are some other actors that I think could be a good fit for the role. First up, who is actually second place on this list, Andrew Lincoln, who you may know as Rick Grimes from The Walking Dead. Now, he makes a good leader in the show, which I think could lend him a slight advantage to playing Reed Richards. However, another actor I've got listed on here is Matt Smith, who, as we all know, did play the Doctor. The 11th one to be precise. However, he did also play the T-5000, I think that's how I'm saying it, in Terminator Genisys, although that film is very forgettable, so especially don't mention that. And the 4th person I've got on this list is Brandon Routh, who famously played Superman in the widely acclaimed Superman Returns. However, he also played the Atom in the Arrowverse, which is pretty good, considering he's probably one of my favourite actors in the Arrowverse. Or was, because he left. And not to mention, he also played Superman in Crisis, so that's fairly interesting as well. Okay, next up we've got my picks for Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman. So, I've again mentioned this in another video, but my ideal pick is Emily Blunt, who a lot of people probably know from Mary Poppins Returns and A Quiet Place, in which she starred in with her husband, John Krasinski. No, I'm not making that up. Now, the reason Emily Blunt would probably work well as Sue Storm is because she'd have great chemistry with Reed Richards, who probably would be played by Krasinski. The reason I think that Blunt would be a good partner is because she'd contrast well with Krasinski, given that both of them are married. However, I have some other picks for the role who I think could fit it as well. So, on second place on my list, there's Emma Stone, who is no stranger to comic book movies, having played Gwen Stacy in the Amazing Spider-Man films, and she's been in a lot of good stuff since the Amazing Spider-Man films, which weren't necessarily well received. She's been in stuff like The Favourite, she's been in an Oscar film called La La Land. I mean, she's been in a lot of good stuff since the Amazing Spider-Man films, so it would be interesting to see how she tackles Sue Storm. Another pick I've got on my list is Carey Mulligan, who's been in a bunch of films that I haven't seen. Fun fact here, Mulligan's career was actually launched because of Doctor Who, so that would be fun, assuming Matt Smith probably could get the part of Reed Richards, even though Sally Sparrow never interacted with the 11th Doctor. Okay, next up we've got my casting choices for the Human Torch, Johnny Storm. So my ideal pick is Dacre Montgomery, who of course is in Stranger Things and played Jason in the recent Power Rangers movie. When I say recent, I mean that film came out 3 years ago, so yeah. So would Dacre Montgomery be a good fit for Johnny Storm? I mean, sure, he could fit the role well, but it just overall depends on his acting. Now, I'm assuming a couple of subscribers are probably fans of Stranger Things, so it would be cool to get some comments from you guys. But Dacre Montgomery could pull off the role of Johnny Storm. I mean, he is probably in the right age gap, so it would be cool to see. However, I've got 3 other actors on the list here who could also be a good fit for the character. At second place on my list, I've got Zac Efron. Why God? I only said that because of High School Musical. I mean, it looks so terrible I don't even want to watch it. Anyway, he hasn't just been in High School Musical, Efron's been in a lot of good stuff since that. Well, he's been in the Baywatch movie, and recently he played notorious serial killer Ted Bundy. That's pretty interesting. There was a lot of backlash when Efron was actually cast as the murderer, so, I mean, it's interesting. Ansel Elgort I've also got on my list. I mean, he could be pretty good. Most of you probably know him from Baby Driver, a film directed by Edgar Wright. I still really need to get to that. Hopefully I'm going to get to it soon, assuming it probably gets put on Netflix. If you know where to get it, then just let me know. Okay, next up in the Fantastic Four category, we've got The Thing. Now, I've got an ideal pick who I think could actually fit this role well. Dominic Purcell. Now, the DC fans among you probably know him as Heatwave from the Arrowverse, Legends of Tomorrow specifically, and you may know him as, well, I can't remember his character's name, but you may know him from Prison Break as well. So it'll be pretty interesting to see what Purcell could bring to the role of the Thing. Now, I've got two other actors who I think could play Ben Grimm, and those are John Cena and Josh Holloway, and I've only seen John Cena in a couple of things, none of which are WWE before you ask. Okay, now we're on to Doctor Doom. This is the part that most of you complained about last time I did a fancast video for the Fantastic Four. So my ideal pick for Doctor Doom would be Luke Evans. Now, he's actually pretty good when it comes to playing villains. He was in Fast and Furious 6, and he was also in Beauty and the Beast, the live action version in which he played the villain. I'm not really an expert on Disney films, so yeah, I haven't seen Beauty and the Beast, neither of them. And let's also not forget I've got three other actors who could be a good fit for the role. Giancarlo Esposito, not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Most of you probably know him for his role as Gus from Breaking Bad. I'm not sure if that's his character's name. Again, I haven't watched Breaking Bad, so bear with me on that as well. But he could be a decent fit to the role. Apparently he was quite a huge villain in the show. And then I've got Nicolás Coster-Waldau, again, butchering the pronunciation. Again, haven't really seen him in much to comment, but he could be a good fit for the role. And then last on my list, I've got David Morrissey, who some of you probably know as Jackson Lake from Doctor Who, or the Governor from The Walking Dead, seasons 3 and 4. And sure, that'd be interesting. I mean, David Morrissey has been rumoured for a while for a particular villain who would go through a particular phase of MCU films. It was rumoured that he was going to play Norman Osborn. If that doesn't go through, then he may end up playing Doctor Doom, which could be interesting. Okay, next up on the list we've got Silver Surfer, and we've got a couple of picks here for choice. My ideal pick for Silver Surfer is the man himself, Keanu Reeves. Yes, John Wick / Neo from The Matrix / the guy from Bill and Ted. All I'm saying is that Keanu Reeves is being fancast for a lot of stuff in the MCU. For good reason. He's being fancast as Wolverine, fancast as Moon Knight. No idea if he's going to be playing Moon Knight actually. But he's also being fancast for Silver Surfer, which would particularly be interesting. However, he is also being fancast for Gambit. Sure, just keep Channing Tatum for that one. I mean, he was going to play Gambit anyway. So, Keanu Reeves playing Silver Surfer would be pretty cool. I mean, all Keanu Reeves fans would dream of seeing him in the MCU, which would be particularly interesting. And sure, I think Keanu could pull the role off well. However, I've got 4 other actors who could actually play Silver Surfer as well if Keanu Reeves doesn't really want to play him. Fairly certain he'd probably jump at the opportunity. So, other actors probably that could play Silver Surfer are Ricky Whittle. Again, know nothing about him. Fun fact, he got his career started on Hollyoaks, which is pretty interesting. I mean, a lot of big name actors get their big break on particular soap operas. For example, Alex Ferguson, I think his name is. I reported on him possibly playing a role in the Batman film. He got his start on EastEnders playing a villain called Trevor Morgan, which was okay, I guess. Not particularly a huge fan of soap operas. And my other pick is Zachary Quinto, who most of you know as Spock from the rebooted Star Trek series. Again, not a huge fan of Star Trek, so can't necessarily comment on that. Oscar Isaac is another role. I also fancasted him for Batman before Pattinson was announced, so that'll be interesting to see. Obviously, we all know Oscar Isaac as Poe from the sequel trilogy of Star Wars, so I've only seen The Force Awakens. A lot of people say that The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker aren't really that good, so I'm going to hold off on seeing them for now. And my last pick is Rami Malek, who played Elliot in Mr. Robot and famously played Freddie Mercury in the Queen biopic, named after one of their best songs. queen. And Rami will definitely have the chops to play a character like Silver Surfer. Keep in mind, Rami has won a couple of awards. He's won an Emmy for his role in Mr. Robot, he won a Golden Globe, an Academy Award, and an SAG Award for Freddie Mercury, which definitely shows off this guy got some talent. So that'll be particularly interesting to see. Okay, last up we've got Galactus, who Silver Surfer pretty much heralds, I guess. So I've only got 3 actors on my list here, because I couldn't really find any good fan casts. So first up on the list is James Earl Jones, who is famously known for being in The Lion King, but of course is known for playing Darth Vader in Star Wars. So he would be a good fit for the role. I mean, just imagine the voice of Darth Vader coming out of Galactus. I mean, that would be pretty cool, and very, very terrifying. Also, Liam Neeson would be a good fit for the role. I mean, we probably know him from stuff like Taken and the prequel trilogy. God, the prequels just make me want to vomit. I shouldn't say that. Anyway, Liam Neeson is a very intimidating actor. I mean, just imagine him saying the words from Taken in a Marvel film. Boom, you've got Galactus. Also, another pick for the role of Galactus is Russell Crowe. Again, I haven't seen him in too much. I only saw him in Man of Steel, so I haven't seen him in much to comment about, so I mean, he could be a good fit for the role. So those are my picks for the Fantastic Four if they get introduced into the MCU. Probably won't get introduced for a couple of years at the least. But what do you think of these fan casts? Does this redeem my video from 3 years ago? If it does, then let me know. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.